I would just like to say that I feel genuinely sorry for any of the PR people who are currently working for Ubisoft right now, because they're going to have to work triple overtime for the thunderstorm of shit that's been coming their way, because Ubisoft's been trending online. I don't know if you noticed, but if you haven't, now you will. For all the wrong reasons, unfortunately. It never seems to be for anything positive, yet here we are, because they announced just about a week ago that they were going to be shutting down services for a bunch of shit that they offered up in 15 of their games. But one of the things caught everybody's attention, and that was the actual access to a game that they purchased, that being Assassin's Creed Liberation. Now, this was something that people just thought, why the fuck would you ever do something like this? Especially since the game was just on sale. Meaning that a bunch of people went to the Steam page, scooped the fucking game up on the cheap, and then suddenly are being informed, yeah, come September, you won't be able to play that game. Motherfucker, have you lost your goddamn mind? I mean, let's be honest, it's Ubisoft, so our expectations are really, really fucking low. But to be able to go and deny access to a game that somebody just purchased recently as if they just rented a thing, though in a world of digital games and media across the board, really you're just getting a license to rent. But I mean, this shit just seemed to be above and beyond, because this wasn't normal for Steam. Yeah, Ubisoft want to go and set the precedent for being, hey, you know, we'll be the first to do this, we'll dick over the fans. And to what benefit? To what gain, I must say. But they don't really fucking care. They're never going to care. And it's weird because you'll actually see people out there defending this shit, which I did on social media, and it made me wonder, how the fuck can you bend over backwards so much for a company that you've a front row ticket to your ass being blasted by the CEO, and you can sit there and go, well, it's not so bad that my brown eye got the surprise of a lifetime, but I got some swag and I got the benefit of being able to say, I'm your #1 fan. What a fucking idiot. Chuckle fucks like you going out there and defending horrible business practices like this, you make no fucking sense. Like, you really don't. You're the one being screwed over. Why would you defend this? Oh, well, it's included in Assassin's Creed 3. So wait, I have to go and buy a separate game to have access to the game that I just bought. I shouldn't have to fucking explain why that's stupid. And I shouldn't also have to explain why that's a horrible defense and a terrible excuse. Well, it's available in something else that's completely separate from this purchase right here. Shut the fuck up. What an idiot. I mean, dullards like that, just, you're a fucking dolt, and that's the hill that you want to die on? I mean, I guess enjoy the scenic view. If that's really what you want to do, more power to you. That's not my bag, though. Not one fucking bit. To me, if I buy something, I should own it, right? I should have access to it. But we have a list of games, right? What's that list? Well, Anno 2070, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Liberation HD, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Driver San Francisco, Far Cry 3, Ghost Recon Future Soldier, Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, Rayman Legends, Silent Hunter 5, Space Junkie, Splinter Cell Blacklist, and Zombie U. And you might be wondering, wait, I won't have access to all those games? No, but you won't have access to a shit ton of the features that have to do with it. So, if you bought something like the Season Pass, which they peddle and push on every single one of their major fucking games out there, any and all times, well, all that shit's gone. Any of the DLC that you bought independently and separately, that's gone. Features within the games that they tout and they push all the time as being some of the main selling points of them, that shit's gone. And it's weird that if this stuff is bought independently, why would you not have access to it later on? And that's all because you're not connecting to Uplay and all this shit. And it's just like, I don't understand how you couldn't merely just patch this shit out. Like, if it's just a connectivity issue where it needs to go and get a message back from your servers on your end, and if one of your excuses is that, well, we're doing this stuff so that we can offer up the best possible experience for our current crop of games, that doesn't send the best message to anybody, because if you're willing to do this to your older titles, well, the current crop of titles that you're talking about trying to give the best possible experience, you're going to do it to them as well. And the best part about all this shit is, once this started making the rounds on the interwebs, suddenly Ubisoft went and said, oh, well, we're going to backpedal on this shit. You will be able to have access to the game, even well after all this shit, if you had already purchased it. So, that's some good news. But let me remind you, if they were willing to go and do this now, they're going to be willing to do it later. This is just one of those things to avoid, again, the thunderstorm of shit that was incoming on the horizon, and they're just like, we'll go and put a band-aid on this wound. Except for when the wound is an entire torso being ripped from its lower extremities, suddenly that band-aid isn't going to be doing a whole lot. And that's what they're dealing with right now. I mean, I really just want to go and say that, isn't it ironic that we're celebrating the 15th anniversary of the Assassin's Creed franchise, and Ubisoft is all gung-ho about this shit, and one of their main titles from that series, one of the best and most revered ones, is Black Flag. And I'm just like, huh. I love stories that tell themselves because it's all about being a pirate, and piracy seems to be the only solution and answer to a lot of the problems that Ubisoft is just setting forth. And I hate the idea that that's the first thing that comes to mind, but realistically, it's the only solution if you're willing to go and take away things that people plunk down their hard-earned money for. Suddenly, well, you can't have this, and this. Oh, we're taking away access to this whole game. Oh shit, people are angry. I mean, you can have access to the game. See, look, we're good. No, you're not. You're still a piece of shit. You just don't want to be called out on it. I'm not going to applaud the efforts of a company going and deciding, oh, well, we have to backtrack on this really bad decision that we were just making. I mean, I guess it could be worse. They could just say, yeah, fuck you. They could. They really could. But this is still shady as shit. To me, I just say, you know what? Go get your money back. I don't think you'll be missing out a whole bunch by not experiencing liberation, but if you really want to go and keep it, leave as many possible negative reviews as you can. Let them know. Let the world know. That's why I want to go and make a video like this, just going discussing this shit at length. Because it goes well beyond the realms of just Ubisoft and a couple other titles that they're taking features out of and DLC out of, or access to a game. This is just a fucking DRM issue. This is one of those things of why I like to go and support physical games, so that I can maintain access to my games long after that shit isn't supported anymore. But even with that, we've seen where sometimes it's just like, oh, well, you need some of the patches for the games, and once those servers are down, you don't have access to them, you're gonna have to fucking pray to God that somebody else uploaded that shit, and you modify your console to be able to go and get that shit on there, and it's just a fucking nightmare. But that's all just stuff that we're not going to be worried about, because that's in the future, right? Inevitability. That's the name of the game. It will eventually happen. I mean, how many services did we see shut down and entire libraries just gone? An ocean of software suddenly gone like that. The entire WiiWare service poofed out of existence. If it wasn't for emulation, we wouldn't have access to that shit, with the exception of any people that went and scooped up some of that stuff. And that sucks. I mean, I don't need to fucking go and spell that out for you why it sucks so bad. The entire virtual console, again, it sucks to realize that all of that stuff was just gone. Why is this going to be any different? I mean, even if you are a die-hard fan of Ubisoft titles and you just love every single time a Far Cry comes out, and it's the same thing since Far Cry 3, and you're just sitting there like a seal with your fucking flippers, just smacking off each other, applauding whatever fucking stuff that they put out, hey, good for you. I'm still waiting, hoping, fingers crossed that we'll get another Splinter Cell, but I feel like I'm probably going to die of old age before we get something like that. And even if we do, it's probably just going to be a copy-pasted open world game that looks like and plays like every other fucking thing out there. And judging by their current business model, it's going to be filled to the brim and overflowing with content that's going to need to be checked in an online server I won't have access to several years down the fucking road. But I digress. I guess it's just not a big deal because who cares, right? They're old games. I care. Anybody who bought this shit cares. Anybody who just cares about doing something good for the actual consumer, they care. I've always been pro-consumer when it comes to any industry because going and fucking over your consumers, your fan base, the people that made you, that suddenly is not going to spell disaster for you or anything. I feel like I could do a Scott Steiner promo right now talking about all the shit that's going to happen at Sacrifice, but it's like, at what point do you not look at this and go, oh yeah, that's not really good? I understand that they have to go and answer to shareholders and a CEO and a bunch of other shit out there, and it's just like, well, does it make financial sense to maintain all these servers and shit? Are you telling me that you can't just go and give access to people to go and maintain their own fucking personal servers and they just go and upload them themselves? Are you telling me that they can't ever have access to this DLC ever again? Why? Like, you can't go and patch that shit out? I understand, I'm not a fucking programmer and I don't work for Ubisoft or anything like that, but I feel like a lot of these issues would be a simple fix that wouldn't undermine your entire business model to those that supported you to begin with. What the fuck do I know, though, right? I'm just some asshole with a decent internet connection and a camera with a whole lot of opinions on the matter. But it's something that I felt the need I should go and talk about, because it's been a hot minute since I did a rant video, so why the fuck not about this, since it covers a lot of different subjects all within one thing. And again, hey, it's great that they're going to allow access to the Steam version of this game well after they're doing away with it in September. But it's just a temporary thing. Don't trust them as far as you can fucking throw them, I assure you. You can sound off in the comments section if you feel the need to go and do that. I mean, I clearly did. I'll respond to a bunch of comments like I typically do on there. Again, it is very good to be back here. In the year of 2022, AlphaOmegaSin is still, in fact, making videos. Amazing, isn't it? All these fucking years later, and Ubisoft is still an absolute fucking shit show of a company. It never ceases to amaze me. But anyway, as always, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers game the fuck on.